Winter was pretty much done. Spring had pushed it away, warming and refreshing the cold, gloomy air that had been hanging over Moscow for nearly 5 lengthy months. It almost felt as if people's hearts were also waking up and thawing out. Here and there one could see hints of sparse and unexplainable smiles, occasionally dressing up the faces of the previously gray and seemingly indifferent street crowd. By the time final exams were over, the basswood trees parading the streets in their naked glory had started to doll up in green, filling the fresh air with the flirtatiously sweet aroma of fleeting but powerful blooms. In a little while, white petals covered the sidewalks, pretending to dress the city streets for graduation day. The new school was like a breath of fresh air. Everything seemed different. Without exception, teachers and students appeared to be a notch smarter and far friendlier than at the old school. The graduating class was much more mature, and the great majority of us were studying genuinely hard to be ready for the university's entrance exams, which were coming up barely a few short weeks after graduation. For the most part, in the rest of the civilized world, 4 full years of college preceded entry into any professional school. This gave high school graduates plenty of time to mature and make up their minds about what to do with their lives. In the Soviet Union, the structure of higher education, along with everything else of importance, was quite different, and most of the time did not make any sense. Here, on the contrary, decisions and choices about one's life journey had to be dealt with during the last couple years of high school by the ripe age of 18. Only a few among us were mature or lucky enough to make the correct choice and to endure the following years of professional school without having regrets in the midst or at the end of our studies. Contrastingly, the rest of the flock hated everything about their hastily chosen métier and had to struggle with boredom and mediocrity for the remainder of their unfortunate lives. I had dreamt of being a physician from as far back as I could remember, so my choice had been very clear to me for a long time. Medicine and poetry could coexist forever, so I thought. There was no doubt in my mind that I would ultimately ascend to become an accomplished physician. But somehow the struggle to climb the poetical Mount Everest on my own proved to be quite daunting and despairing. My unbelievable luck had led me to Andrei Semyonofsky, and not surprisingly, his mentorship had significantly improved my writing skills and unleashed a real poet in me within just a few short months of our collaboration. With his help, I felt like I could finally see the peak of that mountain. My Everest was almost conquered. I was totally enthralled by the seemingly endless view from the imaginary top of my literary future, which was filled with a burning desire for upcoming recognition and well-deserved fame. Little did I know then. Andrei and I spent a lot of time together. My aunt was worried that I would neglect my studies and that it could have a negative effect on my grades. "Alex, you have to keep your grades up. Only straight A's will guarantee your acceptance. There is a quota on the number of Jews allowed to be accepted into medical school. It is not just a rumor. It is our sad reality, an unspoken directive coming from above. You are a Jew. The odds are stacked against us. Getting the very top grades are your only insurance, your only chance to tip the scales of justice. I know that you are a good student, but you spend too much time with Andrei, honing your poetry. Do not neglect your studies, I beg of you." "Auntie Anna, stop tormenting yourself," I argued. "I get straight A's, and I will continue to do so, trust me. But I love my poetry, and Andrei has opened my eyes to such an intricate side of it. I've had an unbelievable time writing under his tutelage. And yes, I've heard the stories that in the past, during Stalin's reign, there was a Jewish quota, but Stalin's been dead for more than 10 years. Times have changed, people have changed. That rubbish is over." I hugged her, and she looked back at me as if she were ready to give up. "Yes, things are different," she breathed out, shaking her head. "But chieftains are still the same. I worry about you, my dear boy."